You don't need a relationship. What you need is to solo travel in Berlin.
Take that solo trip. Take it nervous. Take it scared. Take it broke.
Solo travel, the ultimate symbol of freedom.
Decided to use my free will and book a solo trip, day trip from Dallas to Denver.
Health and wealth.
Did I just spend $3,000 for this one night in this hotel?
1 minute you're scrolling TikTok and some dude's telling you it can rewire your brain chemistry.
Solo travel actually rewires your brain for success,
making you more successful, more confident, quite possibly the version of your
#best self.
At first, it looked like just another trend, but with over 6.5 billion views on TikTok and over 9 million posts with the hashtag solo travel on Instagram, it's creeping into every feed, every For You page, and I have a theory, it's not just the algorithm. Google searches for solo travel are up over 223% in the past decade. And United Airlines just reported a 5% increase in solo flyers just in the past year. And a whopping 76% of millennials and Gen Z said that they were planning on taking a solo trip in 2025. Solo travel isn't a niche anymore, it's a movement. So what's really going on? Let's unpack it. I'm Amy, your resident redhead, and on this channel, we talk all things lifestyle experiments, deep dives, glow-up strategies, and everything in between. Solo travel is a part of a bigger shift. We're exhausted from hustle culture, side hustle culture, and that kind of weird feeling and pressure that we have to turn our burnout into a brand.
If you're not financially successful or where you want to be at the moment, you want to look at building a personal brand.
Solo travel isn't a moment, it's a mood, a marketing trend, and a soft rebellion all rolled into one. And who's leading the charge? Only the people that the boomers blame for everything, millennial and Gen Z. Because when the world feels chaotic and we're trapped in jobs and a dating pool that's less fulfilling than a Love is Blind pod date.
I'm 30.
So you're no longer attractive.
Oh my God.
Booking a flight can feel like the only power move we have left. And nothing says,
I'm fine.
Really?
Absolutely.
like booking a flight to Barcelona with your carry-on and your favorite Eat, Pray, Love Spotify playlist. Solo travel, it's everywhere. In our feeds, our ads, our conversations. We've swapped stuff for stories. Luxury goods for a luxury time. And solo travel, it's the Chanel bag, the Amex card, the Porsche. Bold, expensive, and fueled entirely by your last burnout spiral.
A survey of 2,000 adults found most people burn out at around 42 years old. But for Gen Z and millennial adults, now the ages 18 to 44, the highest point of their stress happens much younger, at 25 years old.
Wow. We're living in a moment where owning a home feels like a myth, and avocado toast is still fully to blame for our financial turmoil. Which means we're left to look at what we can own. From a weekend meeting strangers in Lisbon to a yoga retreat in Costa Rica, experience spending is the new status symbol, and solo travel, the ultimate flex. One of the key events that fueled this shift in experience spending is the pandemic. Listen, I didn't want to talk about it. Nobody likes it. I wish that it could just disappear from my mind, but we have to talk about it. The pandemic for most people reshaped the way that we all look at time, connection, and most importantly, freedom. Because when you have to ask permission to even leave your house, yeah, it's gonna make an impression. Following the pandemic, there was a rise in what was called revenge travel, which was where people who had not only postponed their trips, but also new travelers had a huge surge in traveling because basically they had YOLO energy. Some people, that meant that they weren't waiting for the permission of other people to come along with them for their trips. After the pandemic, many people canceled the idea of a someday trip and instead said, no, this is a today trip, which meant that sometimes you were not going to wait for other people. And one study even confirmed this shift, where individuals sought to overcome the constraints of lockdown life by reclaiming independence and freedom through travel. But don't be fooled, this isn't about running from something. This is actually about running towards something, your best self. The internet's favorite personality type is somebody who's always optimizing, improving, and most importantly, romanticizing discomfort. And solo travel, the ultimate side quest for overachievers in an identity crisis. But what does the science say? Psychologists say solo travel can actually boost cognitive flexibility, the brain's ability to adapt, pivot, and think creatively when thrown into unfamiliar situations. Pair that with self-expansion theory, the idea that growth happens when you step beyond your routines, aka what influencers call the ultimate growth hack. turned personal development into a brand, and solo travel, it fits right in. It's really the only logical next step after your 10K, cold plunge, green juice, and the best part, you don't even need Wi-Fi. Except for uploading your content, of course. Listen, I'm all for theories, but what about putting these theories into action? As a travel statistic myself, a 28-year-old woman, the most common demographic to solo travel, I flew 4,000 miles to put these theories to the test and see, would I come back a version of my #best self, or would I just come back #broke and depressed? So, what was the result? I definitely boosted my social adaptability, talking to strangers, doing everything alone, and also trying to make friends while doing it, and even bar hopping with girls that I met from Copenhagen and Prague until 2 a.m. I ended up meeting 2 girls who were here on a trip together from Copenhagen and Prague, and we went bar hopping until 1 a.m. And we talked so much about life, which took confidence and really made me more confident when I would go out later when I was solo traveling to strike up those conversations and talk to people. Heck, I almost taught an entire 13-person bachelorette party from the UK how to line dance, because that's the type of small talk that I do. And if you're wondering how that ended, I connected with them on LinkedIn, because that's what I talk about in a bar. As you can see, I had to dust off some of those social skills. And best of all, I made friends that I'm going to go meet up with as I'm traveling later this year. I've been fortunate to travel to quite a few countries, and I can honestly say that the spontaneity, it would not have been the same. So all in all, solo travel did give me confidence, it changed my perspective, and it did give me memories and make friends that I otherwise likely wouldn't have. But do I think it lived up to the hype that I see on TikTok and Instagram? Yes and no. Because here's the thing. If you are going to go for a certain reason to go solo traveling. What you see on social media is you see I made all these friends, we did all these things, and those really cool travel stories. But the reality is, you're not always going to have that. When you look at the highlight reels of social media, that is a lot of what you see. Sometimes I just want to go out to eat, and I want to have a glass of wine and a good meal. And I'm okay with that being just me, myself, and I. Because you know what? We are great company, and you should think you're great company too. You see, they say you can't put a price on things, but I can, and I did, in full, because when you solo travel, you do not split anything. Ubers, the meals, no one to split food with, and also it's alleged that airlines actually charge more for solo travelers. And all from a financial perspective, I think that is not talked about enough, and definitely puts a bit of a wrench in your growth. Also, not to mention, you have the full emotional burden of navigating and figuring out what you want to do. Yes, exploring a new country is fun, but sometimes you really want to have somebody to lean on to not be the key navigator of everything that you're doing. And while solo travel may be taking over all of our feeds, it's really not as common as you think it is. When I was in Croatia for this experiment, I met one other girl out of everybody that was there. From the bars that I went to, the cocktail lounges, even the group tours that I booked. I was mainly the only person solo traveling. Although it may look like every single person is solo traveling, it's really not that common. It's a cultural wave, but not quite the norm. Solo travel is the romanticized version of the reset button. But it's also a mirror. You see where you're at emotionally, socially, financially, growth, but not always the type that fits into a reel. Not just traveling because it's a status symbol. We're traveling because we're all trying to escape the nightmare sound of a Teams notification, the everyday news update about how the American dream is more expensive than it's ever been in history.
Young people have every reason to be enraged, and every issue they see, they look up, they get angry, and they see someone doing better than them, and then every day it is speedballed in their face that they are failing. For the first time in our nation's history, a 30-year-old man or woman isn't doing as well as his or her parents were at 30. That is the social compact breaking down.
And the constant feeling of not having enough room to breathe because our career, friends, relationships, and everything in between demand our attention 24/7. So, whether you're booking a ticket or watching from your couch or somewhere in between, I hope this gave you something to think about. And if you like this video, subscribe for more lifestyle content, deep dives, glow up strategies, and everything in between. And follow me on Instagram for all of the behind the scenes, travel recaps, and anything that didn't make the cut.